So this sequence starts standing, or if you prefer, sitting on your ball. And you're going to put your hands over your baby, close your eyes, have your feet comfortable distance apart, yawning or sighing. Having some time to settle your weight evenly over both feet. If you're standing, settle your weight comfortably over the whole of your pelvic diamond if you're sitting. And then we're going to start to make a little bubble around us for our practice. So inhaling, sweep the arms wide. Exhaling, bring the arms around and back to your baby. And so on. Inhale, arms wide, let fingers lightly touch. Exhale, arms around, touching in with your baby. And as you settle into this practice, if it feels comfortable, and only if it feels comfortable, you might like to try making your breath very steady and even, like you could inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 4. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, using the breath and the movement together to create a little bubble for your practice around you and your baby. In, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4. And you might like to go a little slower than me, or a little quicker than me. Well, you may find that that way of breathing just makes you feel out of breath or makes you feel stressed or anxious, in which case I suggest you just leave it be. Normal, natural, easy, effortless breathing is also just perfect for this practice. Centering down now. Hands into the center of the chest. Inhale with your hands at your heart. And then exhale down to the baby. Inhale, make a bubble. Exhale, centering down. Inhale, hands at your heart. Exhale down to the baby. Inhale, make a bubble. If you're standing, you can add a little bit of squatting. Exhale, centering down. Inhale. Exhale, down to the baby. One more like that. Inhale, make a bubble. Exhale, center down. Inhale to the heart. And exhale, down to the baby. And we're going to make our way. Let's see if I can secure the ball from standing or sitting on the ball down onto all fours. So have your feet hip width or a little bit wider. Come down just halfway to begin. You can give your hips a little wiggle. Imagine you've got a tail that you can wag from side to side. And we're going to bend down as much as possible. Reach one hand, then the next. Lower both knees. So we're in this hands and knees position. You're going to give your hips a little rock from side to side, as if your baby was resting in a little hammock, having a sway one way and the other way. Okay. And then taking baby round on a merry-go-round ride. So let's see if we can make this smooth and even like the breath. Halfway round with the inhale. Halfway round with the exhale. And then back again. Now coming, so your hips are evenly balanced over both knees and shoulders evenly balanced over both hands. We're going to take the babies on a roller coaster ride, and that works really nicely when you breathe out and round your back. Pull your hips a little back towards your heels and then breathe in and slide forward. Soft elbows. Breathing out, easing back. Breathing in, sliding forward. And then if you'd like to, you can curl your toes, lift your hips and come into the downward facing dog. Just for 1 or maybe 2 breaths, so not hanging out here a long time, but coming in and out is okay if it feels nice. An alternative is to drop onto the forearms and let the head hang between the arms, giving the hips a little sway from side to side. And then we're going to make our way back up to standing by curling the toes, walking the hands towards the knees. Bringing both knees off the floor at the same time, one hand and the other hand, pressing into the feet and stand up. And you might cross your forearms, hold your elbows, have a little bend over to one side, and then to the other side. Back to the middle, reach your arms up, and then fold back down. So come first just halfway, have a pause, wag your tail. And then making your way back down to the floor, all fours, babies in the hammocks. Babies on the merry-go-round. And around the opposite way. Back to the center, babies on the roller coaster. Exhale back. Inhale, slide forward. And this time, at the end of the next exhalation, we're going to roll up to kneeling up or standing on your knees. Up you come. Exhale, lower your arms. Check in with your baby. Have a little wiggle here. So step 1 foot forward and don't think too hard about it. Just be intuitive and pick a foot, step it forward. Now, we're going to be folding down, putting our hands down onto the mat. So 2 things to be aware of. 1, don't have your foot right in front of your baby because there won't be any room. So you can take your foot quite wide for this practice, even right off your yoga mat. 2, if the floor looks like it's very far away, put a yoga brick or a pile of books or something that you can rest your hands on, just in case it feels a little bit too far to fold forwards. Bring your hands to your heart. Breathing into the heart, breathing out, down to the baby. Breathing into the heart, and breathing out, down to the baby. One more time. And this time you go down to the baby and then all the way down to the floor or onto your prop. So you've definitely got something to rest your hands on, and you might already feel a bit of sensation here in the forward leg hip. So we're going to give that hip a wiggle. I'm going to suggest that you wiggle it in an externally rotating direction. So this is my right leg I've got forward and I'm circling to the right, like I'm rotating outwards from my hip in a lovely circular movement. It might be for you just a really teeny tiny little circular movement, more of a wiggle, or it might be that it feels good in your body to have quite a big circular or spiraling movement. So there's no right or wrong, no good or bad, other than does it feel delicious? And I'd suggest that if it doesn't feel delicious, that you don't do it at all. If it doesn't feel even just a tiny bit tasty, there's no need to do this. What this position does afford us is a really great way of, again, feeling the sitting bones. You could bring a hand in and just see if you can feel the sitting bone in that side, or the side that you're spiraling, that side of the pelvis. That's what's, you could imagine this circling movement almost coming from there, from the sitting bone. It's going to help to open and stretch this side on the pelvic floor. Let's circle back the opposite way. So you're spiraling inward now. It's a circular or spiraling movement, so it could go round and round with your breath. Halfway round with the inhale, halfway round with the exhale. Coming back to the middle, start to lunge forward and rock back. So as you lunge forward, you can lift your gaze, draw your shoulders back away from your ears. This is a nice place to breathe in. And as you rock back, you can tuck your chin, you can let your shoulders slide up towards your ears, let your back round, let your tail drop. Good place to breathe out. So we're rocking forward, breathing in. Rocking back, breathing out. Maybe there's a sense of hugging the baby in with that exhalation. One more time like that, and this time at the end of the exhale, we're going to roll back to upright. And you can exhale and bring your hands down over your baby. Check in with how this is, how you're feeling. So if it's okay, if it's all good, leave your leg where it is. If you need a bit of time back on both knees, which is going to be more stable, come back onto both knees for this next practice. So you're putting one hand on your hip and the other arm is going to do some big shoulder circles. Or in this version, the arm corresponding with the forward knee rests slightly here. And then it's this free arm making big, sunny shoulder circles. And this being a circular movement, again, you can coordinate it with your breath. So maybe your inhale is the up and the over, and the exhale is the down and the under. The arm moves forward and up and over like a rainbow over your head. And then down and under. Inhale, up and over. Exhale, down and under. We're going to go one more time around, and then you swap the arms. So this arm that you've been moving comes down onto the floor or onto your block, and the other arm now is going to make a movement, and it lifts up, floating up, and then swoops down and under. So with your inhale, open up, and with your exhale, down and under, little twist. So one more. And then we're going to arrange ourselves back in an all fours position. So you put both hands down on the floor, bring the forward leg back, so you're level, even weight over both knees, even weight over both hands. Babies are going on a roller coaster ride. And then optionally, you could curl your toes under, lift your hips and come into the downward facing dog. Keep your knees a little bit bent. Think about lifting your tail really nice and high. Get your spine long. Lowering the knees back down. You can carry on your roller coaster journey. Or come into a little forward resting position for 2 or 3 breaths. So carrying on, if you want to move, carry on scooping or roller coaster movement. You can sink your hips back and rest in a wide leg child's pose. Rest your head on your hands. Or if you have your ball, resting on your ball. Do is curl the toes under, walk the hands in and come back up to standing. Stretch up, cross the forearms, have a little bend to one side. Back to the middle and over to the other side. If you can't hold your forearms like that, this is quite a nice alternative. Hold one wrist, hold the other wrist. You can bring your hands onto your baby, have a little circle around. And then we are once more going to fold down. Come to all fours. Babies in the hammock. Rocking one way, rocking the other way. And think of it like quite a nice, firm, strong hammock. So the baby's not hanging, the weight of the baby isn't hanging off your spine and kind of creating a big dip in your lower back. You keep the back quite flat. And the baby's hammock is nice and strong. The muscles of the abdomen nice and strong. Keep the baby safe and sound. Baby's on the merry-go-round. Halfway with the inhale, halfway with the exhale. Let me show you an alternative hand position. You can be more like a gorilla, up on your knuckles if your wrists need a break. Or even on your forearms, but you might like to put something like this or a big cushion under your forearms as you circle. Merry-go-rounds going the opposite way. Then back to the middle and baby's on the roller coaster. And one more time, this time at the end of the exhalation, you're going to roll up. And lower the arms down, bring them in over your baby. So you're going to pop your other leg forward. Remember, you want a little bit of space so that you'll be able to fold down without squashing your bump, and you might want something to rest your hands on. Hands to the heart, inhale. Exhale down to the baby. Inhale to the heart. Scoop up some love in the heart and exhale, send it down to your baby. Inhaling, hands to the heart. This time we're going to exhale over the baby and then all the way down to the floor or to your block and start to circle outwards. And this is a nice opportunity to feel the sit bone on this side of your pelvis. If you can reach your arm back or under, exploring the anatomy there. Feel how this movement, this circling movement really helps to open this side of the pelvic diamond. movements can be really big movements. Each and every one of us is slightly different. The intention is these movements should feel enjoyable, useful, and ideally completely delicious. So if it causes discomfort, don't do it for now. Seek some advice. Often it's because of that pelvic instability. The two sides of the pelvis kind of grating against each other slightly. They need a little bit more stability. And this movement now is all about mobility, circling the other way. This is helping lubricate the joints. It's helping to with lymphatic drainage, helping our lymphatic system. It's actually also helping our digestive system. Sometimes things can get a little bit kind of clogged up in the abdomen. So these movements help with all of that, keep things moving. Okay, back to the middle and rocking forward and back now. Lunging forward, rocking back. Inhale, rock forward, lift your head, draw your shoulders back away from your ears. Exhale, pull back. You can let your shoulders slide up towards your ears. Hug your baby, drop your tail round your back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. So one more like that, and we're going to roll up. At the end of the exhalation, when the baby's all safely tucked in, up we come. You can bring your hands back down over your baby, check in with them. Okay, so keeping the same stance, front arm rests lightly on the front knee, and the other arm starts to make these big sunny shoulder circles. If you're ready for something more symmetrical, you just come onto both knees, and then you can make your shoulder circles with either arm. Up and over with the inhale, down and under with the exhale. If you can, put your leg forward again, same side. Or you left it there the whole time, that's fine. We're going to swap the arms. So the arm that's been making the circle comes to the floor or onto a prop. And now the other arm floats up. Inhale and down. Exhale. Opening with the inhalation and closing almost with the exhalation. One more time. Then back onto hands and knees. So both hands on the floor, both knees level under the hips. Baby's on the roller coaster. And moving, if you're ready for a rest, from babies in the roller coaster into that wide-legged child's pose, or child's pose supported on a pile of cushions, or child's pose supported on your ball, or something like this. Or if you're enjoying the moving and the stretching, then you just keep on the roller coaster and add in a downward facing dog. So it's up to you. Sometimes you might be feeling full of energy and really stretchy and really like you want to move. And other days you might be feeling more tired, and both are completely normal. So if you want to rest, let yourself rest. And if you want to move, let yourself move. But try and choose something symmetrical, like this little sequence of baby on the roller coaster moving to the downward facing dog. And then back again. And then what you could do is roll back up to standing and begin that whole sequence again. Or you could stay in the resting position and we'll do a little breathing exercise. So I'm going to get my ball and rest with you like this. And perhaps we've been breathing with a fairly steady breath, even inhale, even exhale. But now as you settle at the end of that sequence, maybe you can start to focus a bit more on exhalation and letting the exhalation be longer than the inhalation. So a nice way to do that is to make some sound. It could be a shing sound or a from the back of your throat. Or you could imagine you were breathing out through a straw between your lips. Softly blowing the breath out. However you do it, see if you can start to focus more on the exhalation. And then let the inhales take care of themselves. And these long, soft out breaths can be very reassuring, very soft and soothing. They're like a massage for your nervous system. Long and soft and stroking. If you want to, you can even massage yourself like I am now. Or just knowing that the long, soft out breaths will have that effect for you and for your baby, so you and your baby can rest calmly and quietly together. And staying like this for as long as you please.